Hello everyone, this is Builder for BasicLoL.com, and in this video, I'm gonna give a basic introduction on how to start jungling. The jungle can be slightly intimidating. With the wrong runes mastery setup, or with a bad champion, the jungle can be virtually impossible to clear from level 1. This video is aimed at helping newer players from lower levels be able to start clearing their own jungles, and to be able to start jungling. Jungling is somewhat different from other roles in League of Legends. In jungling, you gain your farm from killing jungle camps around the map, and you roam around to gank other lanes, and hope your team secure early objectives. Overall, you're much focused more on the map as a whole, as opposed to your own individual lane. Jungling, it requires a specific setup and runes and masteries, and when you're a lower level summoner, this can be somewhat hard to achieve. One very important part of being able to jungle is your setup. The majority of good junglers in League of Legends are melee champions who have some form of sustain or are just tanky and have some sort of crowd control ability. In other words, an ability which slows or stops an enemy's movement. In terms of your runes or masteries, you want to have armor and possibly the tough skin masteries. Here I have a couple of champions that are good to start learning jungle with. There are Udyr, Amumu, Warwick, Nunu, and Cho'Gath. And on the right side, I have a couple of masteries which you should consider getting. On the top right of the masteries, there's the Tough Skin mastery, which gives you reduced damage from creeps. And in the middle bottom, there's the additional armor mastery, which will help you take less damage from jungle minions. You can create a custom game in League of Legends with no one else in the game. This allows you to practice your jungling in a risk-free environment. You should take Barrier and Smite in order to clear your camps because you won't have anyone to help. Normally you would take Flash and Smite because your team will help you on the buffs, but since you won't have anyone, you can just take Barrier to be able to tank a little bit more damage. Also, you should purchase Hunter's Machete and 5 health potions. Once you've purchased your items, you should head to a buff. The buffs are as shown here. There's red buff and blue buff. Red buff provides your champion with a slow and a slightly damage when you auto attack, and blue buff provides increased mana regeneration. As a general rule, if your champion has mana, you want to start on blue buff, and if your champion doesn't, you should start on red buff. After clearing your buff, you should go to the wolf camp and clear the wolf camp. After killing wolves, you can go to the other buff on your side of the map, either blue or red, the one which you didn't start to begin with. If you can clear both of those buffs and wolves reaching level 3 without losing too much health, you're well on your way to being able to jungle. After you hit level 3, it is oftentimes a good time to gank the enemy team. Ganking is when you sneak up on an enemy, oftentimes in a lane, in order to try to kill them and/or damage them. It is easier to gank an enemy that is pushed up in lane, meaning closer to your tower. When you're ganking, you should ping to inform your laner, and charge in and use your abilities. As they start to run away, you should use your crowd control abilities in order to slow them down. Here I have a diagram which should help you understand the idea of when a lane is pushed. If your base is in the bottom left, you can look at your minimap. If the enemy is in a green circle in any of the lanes, they should be easier to gank because they have to run farther to get back to their tower. If they're in the yellow zone, you can still gank them, but it will be a little bit harder to deal damage and kill them. And if they're in the red zone, they are relatively safe in their current position, and it would be much harder to gank them. Two very important objectives for the jungler to control are Dragon and Baron. The Dragon is a weaker monster and can be killed early in the game, and so the jungler, that's you, can decide for his team when to do Dragon. When doing either Dragon or Baron, you should try to use Smite to deal the killing blow on it. You should mouse over how much damage Smite does, and then click on the monster, and use Smite immediately once you have enough damage to kill it. You should do this because otherwise the enemy team can come in and deal the killing blow, gaining the gold and/or buff from the monster. That's it for this video. In the future, there will be another video which will cover more of the strategy and thought process of jungling. Thanks for watching this video, and be sure to visit BasicLoL.com. Have a wonderful day.